Hey guys, welcome back to VOLIBEAR Explains. It's been a long time since I uploaded a video for this series, and I want to bring it back. And it's mostly just an educational kind of series where I talk about items on Volibear. So today we're going to focus specifically on Stormsurge. Artheo! Now, Stormsurge is very underrated on Volibear. Not a lot of people run it, and probably for whatever reason. And I'm here to tell you, extremely underrated. And I'm going to explain what Stormsurge does, mainly specifically on Volibear. It's very different on the bear compared to other champions. The first thing you need to understand about Volibear is his passive. So when you understand how his passive works, it scales off AP. The more AP you get, the more attack speed he gets. So Nashers is the first item that you think about when you want to pair it with Stormsurge, with Volibear. Versus everybody else, they're typically going to build like Rabadons or some high AP burst item, right? Volibear is different. You want to utilize the passive and your E at the same time. You want to be able to land those two combos and completely shred your target while Stormsurge Squall passive is activated. There's two parts to this. You got the Storm Raider and we got the second Squall effect. So we're going to talk about that in practice tool. But before we do that, I want to share with you a classic name of one of my breaker builds, and that's the Stormbreaker. In the past, we didn't have Stormsurge, so we just had the classic Iceborne, what used to be Frostfire, with Iceborne, Hullbreaker, and Titanic is usually what I would do. Now we have the Stormsurge. It's perfect for this name, Stormbreaker. So basically, Stormsurge with Iceborne is it's a deadly build. It's a fucking storm, I'm telling you. But anyway, the idea behind this build is you want to get
the Ursines speak for man, and the wild responds.
Sorry about that. Just somebody checking me out, I guess. And I'm just doing a recording, by the way. Anyway, attack speed is extremely important. So recurve bow is what you need to do. And then go straight into Stormsurge. The reason being is you want as much attack speed as possible to set off this passive. So we want to go straight into this, which is very cheap, by the way, 2,900, very cheap. And then you'll be able to go straight into Nashers. I usually get a wand right after that, and then I usually am able to afford this, or I just build the smaller components here. And then once you have that, you completely shred your target. They can't do shit, especially when you're running Ghost and you just completely run them down. It sort of feels like, you know how Darius runs you down with Ghost? It feels like that. Like there's literally no escape, nothing you can do. And I could probably say like Olaf. Olaf is another one that would completely run you down. But I would say this build, this combination, what it feels like, Udyr's Awakening Q. No joke. It feels exactly like that. And what's ironic is Udyr's Awakening Q is Volibear. His Q is literally Volibear. So and it also scales with AP and physicals, like that combination. So this is literally what this build will feel like. You completely shred them down, and all the attack speed on Hullbreaker, the skipper passive, you're going to shred those towers down in a couple of seconds. So it's a great way to end the game, especially with Baron. In Iceborne here, sometimes I decide whether I want to go Hullbreaker as the third or fourth item, depending on what I need. But Iceborne is critical because the slows allow you to land guaranteed at E to land. So that's why you need Iceborne. But also that you have physical damage. So it's sort of like a hybrid build. And then down here you look, we got Riftmaker, which I recommend. More AP for the Squall passive is going to do more. But you can also do Titanic. And the reason why Titanic works is Titanic does a lot when you do your upfront damage, and the upfront damage is with your Q. That's the first ability that's going to land on the targets. The Q, W, and then the E comes down. So all that burst damage up front, and then when the E lands, that's even more damage. It's going to help trigger, but most importantly, Titanic active. So you got Q, W, active, E. Four things to really set off that storm surge. So you could go Titanic, that's option. Other option I recommend if you need MR, since you already got armor, I recommend going with Hollow. Hollow, and the reason why is because we're not going for a sustain type build. We're going for an all-in type build. So we don't care about having spirit. We don't care about increasing our healing. If you want a little bit more sustain and more damage, Riftmaker is really good. It's got the vamp on there, it allows you to heal. So the more you attack the target, the more you're going to heal. So you can get some sustain out of this, but that's not really the primary focus. So these are my top three items into the late game. These three options. I'm sure there's many more you could choose from and have fun with. Sometimes, occasionally, I'll go Morello. So that's probably the only situational. I'll go. Oh, sorry, spelled it wrong. I'll go with this. And the reason why is because this works off Volibear's passive. So if you hit the minions, it's gonna, apply that anti-heal. So that's extremely good. And of course it works on your E when you land. Anytime you deal magic damage, um, I highly recommend this. And this has health now, which is good. Has ability haze. That's even better. So this is the Stormbreaker. So now let's go on the practice tool. Alright, so Stormsurge. Got 90 ability power, 15 magic penetration, 4% movement speed. So what this means is the 15 magic penetration is it's going to do a lot to like a squishy target or anybody that's not building any resistances. There's a lot of top lane champions that don't, and they mostly go straight damage. Um, this is going to struggle slightly against tanks, um, mainly because they're building MR. So it's going to fight back against some of that magic penetration. So in order to beat a tank, you would have to go Riftmaker with it. That's the only way that you're going to be able to shred down a tank. Riftmaker is one of the best items for that. But anyway, so we got the Storm Raider passive. So what this does is dealing 25% of the champion's maximum health within 2.5 applies the Squall. So obviously tankier champions are going to be harder to set this off. This is why I said, squishy targets or champions that aren't building any, resistances. There's a great number of them. Trundle, I know that might shock you. Trundle is a great champion to use Storm Surge into, and I have proof of that. Many champions that. Wukong is another one. And another thing to talk about with Storm Surge is the Squall passive is really good against champions that have a clone. So like Wukong has a clone. Shaco has a clone. Who else? Nico. This is effective against them, and you'll be able to locate the real target, the real whatever. So you're not attacking, the clone, basically. Um, it's super effective. And another thing with Volibear is you can tell it's Volibear when he marks the clone, the target. You can tell the difference between the actual target and the clone. So that's another thing that's nice about Volibear. And the passive travels through Q and W. So that all that AP, you're getting mixed damage with your Q and W. So when you mark like a clone target with W, that AP is going to go through and you should be able to set off the Storm Surge. So I'm just going to demonstrate how to set it off. So what you want to do is your full combo. You want to get E to land. You can do it that way with W first and then Q to secure it. Sometimes I do that because what this does, so watch when I do run W, see how I stun them? Stunning them allows you to guarantee that E to land. I know some people think that this combo is not good. It actually is good. I don't always use it. It just depends. Sometimes I'll use it against somebody who has mercs. So if I don't have like Iceborne yet, that's the combo that I would do. But most of the time, you try to position and land your Q first. If you can time your Q and your E at the same time, that's also really good. So that's the important combo. There it is. Boom. And then it goes on cooldown. So as soon as you burst them down, keep hitting them with your passive. And you're going to set off that passive. And what you saw there, that lightning bolt that came down, you have 2 lightning bolts. You have one here. And then you have Stormsurge. There's the first, which is your E, and then Stormsurge is the second one. Now you got to understand, that was only the first passive of Stormsurge. There's a secondary passive. So when a target is low, so this was a healthy target right here, and I'm not going to be able to show that on this dummy because it's never going to die. I can't execute it. So how this works is it has to die in order to set off that passive. After 2 seconds, deal magic damage. If the target dies before Squall triggers, it damages nearby enemies and grants 30 gold. So basically what it does is before Squall triggers, which is that first lightning, if you kill the target before that, it'll send out like a shock wave of lightning, which will damage everybody nearby. And this works off your allies too. So if you get a gank, that's going to help set it off. If you're fighting in team fights like a dragon or objectives or wherever, you're going to burst everybody nearby and you're going to be able to move on to the next target and finish them off. So that's that. But I'm going to show you on a champion. We got Darius up in here. I'm going to show you what that looks like. There it is. So that's that. So you're not really gonna set it off at a full health champion unless you're like items above the target, or if it's like an 80 carry. You'll definitely like, burst them down in one combo at full HP, maybe more than half health. But 95% of the time, anybody that has 50% or below, you should be able to set off this Squall passive, and it's even more when you have Nashers. Nashers is the key when playing Stormsurge on Volibear. You use Ignite. So there I didn't set it off because he got away, and also because I didn't kill him before the Squall, the first Squall. So now you understand how the passives work. But even though, I want to explain something. The first passive is super effective. I actually prefer that one more than the secondary. The secondary is nice when they're low and in team fights with your allies. But when you're going one-on-one, that first passive is so good, especially with Nashers. As soon as you land your combo, the Q and E, the Q stuns, the E slows, allowing you to hit that on-hit damage from Nashers and your passive. So when that happens, this is activated, and you're shredding them at the same time. If they flash and try to get away, you can still kill them with Ignite and the Squall. That's why I love this combination. It makes it extremely hard for them to get away. Alright, so I'm going to show you what it looks like with Iceborne, so you can get an idea. So as soon as you Q the target, not only you stun them, but you slow them, and then your W slows as well. Guarantee you to land that E. See? There it is. That's what I wanted to show you. You can hit them with the fadeaway like that. You don't have to keep attacking. So when you see that Squall pass, that lightning come down during the Ignite, just keep hitting them to the point where it's about to come down, and that's when you want to walk out. You just, like that explosion going off in the background, like in the movies, just like that. Just show off. Fucking love that. So that's how Stormsurge works on Volibear. So I hope this video helped educate you guys on how this works with Volibear. So another thing I want to point out is the runes. If you look here, I have 6 movement speed, so let's take a look here. So I have 392. That's incredible for just basic boosts. And I want to show you something about boosts. So the 2 recommended boosts I recommend is recall boosts, what I call them, or Swifties. So if I pop Swifties, so wait for the movement decay. Alright, there we go. So we got 429. That's insane for this. And the thing is, Stormsurge used to be 8% movement speed. Kind of broken, right? 4% is still broken. And I'll show you what it looks like with hullbreaker. Where's that at? Here it is. Alright. So 444. So when you press Q, that's going to be even more. 480. That's insane. And not to mention, I have Ghost. With Celerity, it's just going to boost you the fuck up. It's going to allow you to run down targets, get the lane faster, keep that pressure on the map. But of course, recall boosts are good. And the reason recall boosts are good is they suck initially because you don't have the upgrade, but you have instant recall. And that is super good. Like if the Avengers are on the way to get you, you can just get the fuck out. And Celerity is going to help you get the quest, like complete the quest, so you can have the upgrade. And the upgrade is going to give you basically more out of combat movement speed. And that out of combat movement speed goes a long way when you're running up the side lane, especially with this playstyle with Ignite. You don't have teleport. This is an all-in playstyle. These boots are going to come in handy. It's going to allow you to get back on the map ASAP. Recall back, get an item, get back on the map. So I highly recommend Swifties and recall boots. We'll talk more about that in another video. But yeah, this is the classic Stormbreaker build. Last item, like I said, 3 options: Titanic, Riftmaker, or Hollow. But yeah, this is mainly a video about how Stormsurge works on Volibear. Hope you guys learned a lot from this. And of course, like, subscribe if you want to see more Volibear Explained content. I will see you next time. Artheo!